everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Look Back, as we take a look at games that I reviewed a year, 5 years, and 10 years ago. And I tell you what I think about those games now, if I think about them at all. A lot of games we reviewed this week, so let's get started. First, last year, I reviewed Hunted Kobayashi Tower, which is straight up Die Hard, the solo game. It's actually an interesting little game as you play through it and roll dice. I don't dislike it, but it's just so lucky, so random. It's fun, for a bit, but I wouldn't buy it. 6 out of 10. Monopoly Speed. You would think this would be much lower because it's Monopoly and it's speed. But you know what? Playing Monopoly as fast as you can, rolling dice and running around the table, was an amusing thing a few times. 6 out of 10. Descent Legends of the Dark. So this is Descent 3.0. And I know they'll tell you it's not the third edition of Descent, but it is. It's interesting. Fantasy Flight has this unnecessary cardboard terrain, an interesting app, a bad story, interesting characters, bad art, a lot of stuff put together. I gave it a 6.5 at the time. Here's the deal. Since then, I played several other dungeon crawlers. Yeah, this deserves to be here. It's not that great compared to most other dungeon crawlers. I know a lot of people really like it. I am not one of them. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. All right, For the King and Me. I dropped this one a little bit because it kept having some color production issues for me. It wasn't as nicely produced. It was a 7, now it's a 6.5. This is the redone version of Biblios. I think I might prefer Biblios, but it's still a nice, fun card game. 7 out of 10 goes to Summer Camp. This is a deck building game in which you are just going to summer camp, and the decks can change from Phil Walker Harding. Very simple game. We call these sometimes gateway style games. Great family game. Very easy to play. I don't want to play it all the time, but if I'm playing with people who are new to gaming, it is a fantastic choice. Catan, the 3D edition. I just saw the Seafarers version of this at Gen Con. It looked really nice, and I like Catan, and it's really, really nice production. Is really cool if you're willing to pay the steep price. But if you are, it's great. A Royal Will. This is from Mega Mint. This I gave a 7 out of 10 to. I wasn't expecting to. You're all playing 2 cards, trying to take money from the middle with a special card. Everyone's playing simultaneous. It was fun. Very interesting little card game. Snakes. We played this several times over the past year on the Dice Tower, live at different events. It's a fun little game where there's a question with 3 answers. And the snakes know the right answer, but they're trying to get everyone else to guess the wrong answer. Very fun, quick, simple party game. 7 out of 10. Space Invaders. This is the redone version of Flip Ships. I like it. I think actually Flip Ships might have some better. It might be a little bit slightly better mechanic-wise, but come on, Space Invaders. Very fun. 7.5. Shadow Kingdoms of Valeria. So of all the Valeria games, I enjoyed this one. It has a dice drafting mechanism where the die that you take, the color matters and the number matters. You're getting your little armies together. You're some evil army guy doing whatever, fantasy world. But it has a lot of good choices. 7.5. And 10, which I'm giving an 8 out of 10. But 10 is a great card game that it just plays so easily. 10 is the kind of game, besides the name, I don't like the name, that I would like to see sold at big box stores, because this is the kind of thing that it's very easy to play. You push your luck drawing cards, and you're trying to make runs of numbers and get money, and there's a little auctions in the game which make the game have some fun interaction. Very cool game, and I think it scales well. 5 years ago, okay, so I played a lot of bad games 5 years ago. First of all, Saboteur the Duel. Saboteur is a pretty interesting little card game. Saboteur the Duel, terrible. 2 out of 10. The Dingo Ate the Baby. This is, the actual thing about the Dingo Ate the Baby is like a terrible news story. I know there's some jokes about it, but this turns it into a cartoon game, and it's not a good game either. 3 out of 10. Train Heist. This is from Cryptozoic. I really want to like this game. A train going around in a circle and you're criminals trying to rob it. Sounds really fun. And it's a really bad game from Cryptozoic. 3 out of 10. All In. This is a game where you're just guessing whether what someone said is true or false. There's so many of these games. 4 out of 10. 3 Secrets. I know some people like this thing, but this is where you look at a picture and then you ask yes or no questions to the person. You eventually try to figure out the story. I don't get the fun in that, but a lot of people like it. I was meh. 5 out of 10. Castellers. Now, the idea of building a human tower to me is really fun, and there are some good games that do it. Castellers, this card game, is not that good. It is not one of those games. It's a 5 out of 10. HIDE. That stands for something like Hidden Something Dice Spies. Who knows? It's from Mayday, a dice placement game. I wanted to like it a lot more, but it's kind of a very bland, not great game. 5 out of 10. Cookie Box. This is a cute-looking game from Korea about making patterns. There's a lot of these games. It's fine. 6 out of 10. Ghost Love Candy. I just got the sequel to this from 25th Century. The original one here that I'm talking about is from Steve Jackson Games. I found it to be cute and interesting. A 6.5. Laser Riders. This is from Greater Than Games, and it is basically Tron. And it comes packaged in video cassette type looking boxes. Each person has some special abilities, and it just has a cool look to it. If you want to play Tron on a table, Laser Riders is a fun game for that. 7 out of 10. Wordsy. This is a word game from Gil Hova, who's probably best known for his game The Networks. But Wordsy is his attempt at a word game. Actually, I think it's not his attempt. It's a reprint of an older game, and it comes out fine. 7 out of 10. Flip Ships. How interesting. We just talked about the game that came after it, which is the Space Invaders. The original one, Flip Ships, I gave an 8 to. And it's funny because even though Space Invaders is the better theme, I think Flip Ships has some better components to it. But they're both the same game. But I gave this one an 8 out of 10. Dice Forge. I was surprised that I gave Dice Forge an 8. And man, I tell you, this one comes as close to an 8.5 as you can get for me. For excellence. I really do like the idea of Dice Forge. Rolling dice, building the dice, the Lego feel of the dice. If it had just a few more options maybe. And the expansion did add a few more options, but still, it's still fun. And just roll a couple dice and you're rolling every turn. You're always getting stuff. The game feels very fast and fun. Too Many Bones. Okay, so this one I dropped from an 8.5 to an 8. Look, I get it. It's a fantastic game. People love it. It's one of the highest rated games on Board Game Geek. And I think it's an interesting, fun game with poker chips and custom dice. There's so much, a great community, fantastic company. Mike DeLisio loves this game. I also think it's fun. I'm just not going to, it's a lifestyle game and I don't have the effort to put into it, so I can't say it's one of my favorite games because if it was my favorite games, I probably would be putting that effort into it. As it is, I still think it's a cool game. I don't know if I'll play it again though. And then 1960, The Making of the President. This one is an 8.5. This one about an election. This was a remake, actually, of the original game. This one's a sequel to Twilight Struggle, where you are playing as Nixon or Kennedy in the 1960 election. It's a very simple version of it, but it plays really well, so smoothly. I really like this game, 1960. All right, 10 years ago, I played Warriors and Traders. This is an early game from NSKN. The company that became Board and Dice. It was not particularly a good game. It was very basic, not fun at all, actually. 4 out of 10. Rise! This was a game from Crash Games, who they no longer exist. They made several cool games. This was an abstract strategy game where you're trying to cover a board and rise some tokens up. It's fine. It's very forgettable, though. 6 out of 10. Android Infiltration. So Android, for a while, Fantasy Flight was trying to make a whole, genre out of this Android, a series of games, Android Netrunner being the most popular. This one's from Donald X. Vaccarino, who did Dominion. It's a push your luck style game, but you know what? As time has gone by, I'm dropping this from a 7 to a 6 because I would just rather play simpler games. This has a lot of similarities to other push your luck games, but there's just a bit more complexity to it. The Big Idea, this one I've also dropped from a 7 to a 6, is from James Ernest. It's where you're trying to sell something to other players. Fine game. It's just that since then, there's better games where you sell things. My favorite being, but wait, there's more. Pick a Dog. This is such a stupid game that I gave a 7 out of 10 to. But it's about matching different characteristics on there's pick a pig, pick a dog. It's silly, it's dumb, but I like it. Feudality. This is from Tom Wam. It is sort of like a Settlers of Catan style game where you're rolling dice and hitting different things on your grid. I like the concept a lot. I don't know how often I play it, but it's an interesting game, and I like the artwork too. Survive Escape from Atlantis. 10 years ago. What a cool game. It didn't come out 10 years ago. It came out like 40 years ago. This was the reprint from Stronghold Games. But as the island's sinking, you got to get your people off. Great family game. Lots of fun, lots of laughs, and lots of accusations. 7.5. Tricks and Treats. This is the first game from Emerson Matsuuchi. It did a great job. Little not the trick taking game, sorry, you're filling buckets with candy and everyone has a bucket. You're trying to figure out who has what bucket. Lots of fun. 7.5. First and Goal, a very fun two-player football game. I'm not a huge football fan. I find the sport interesting, but this dice version of the game, especially the expansions, is so much fun. It's fast, it's furious, it's First and Goal. Pluck and Pairs, I also give an 8 out of 10 from the same company, R&R Games. This is a great party game where you put 11 cards out in the middle and then you pair up the cards. And then you also pick one card to be not in a pair. And you're trying to pair them up for reasons. Oh, these are both red. Those are both soft. Whatever your reasons are, you're just hoping you match other people. Very, very fun. Hiroshima Convoy. This is an 8 out of 10. They remade this just as the game Convoy. But this is a very cool asymmetric two-player game. One person's running a convoy. The other person's trying to blow that convoy up. I like that concept. 8 out of 10. Descent. Hey, it's another Descent. This is Descent Journeys in Dark 2nd edition. That's 10 years ago. This one, it was a 9. I've dropped it to an 8. Same reason. There's so many cool dungeon crawlers out there, but I have a lot of nostalgia for Descent. I like this better. I like the 2nd edition better than the 3rd one. It's long, it's campaign, although the campaign's broken up into nice bite-sized chunks. They took the first Descent, they streamlined it, they made it so that the Overseer, the bad Overlord, can play as hard as they want against the good guys. I just found it to be a lot of fun. Descent, 2nd edition. And then Libertalia. Libertalia, I just reviewed the new version of this from Stonemaier Games. The original, I gave an 8.5. I actually like the new mechanisms that Stonemaier added much better. They've streamlined the game a lot, but I like the old artwork much better. So I wish I could combine the two. Unfortunately, you can't. Anyway, those are the games that I reviewed 1, 5, and 10 years ago. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Look Back on the Dice Tower. Put a little love in your home, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for me and you. It's actually and you and me. Just wait and see.